Cookie!
And welcome to another episode of the Faux Song Elizabeth Cookie Show. Episode 7, Season 5. Thank you guys for waiting all last month and this month for my next episode. I've just been really busy taking care of some new ambitions, some goals, and some stuff that I'm trying to do. And I'm going to get right into it. This episode has a lot of content that I've been working on with a lot of the editing. And so I'm not going to keep you guys waiting with a big sermon that I'm going to explain. So first things first, I want to talk about California Extreme. California Extreme was the video game pinball expo that occurred in late July. The dates actually cross-reference with Evolution Fighting Game Tournament in Las Vegas. So for those who did not go to EVO, actually went to California Extreme. And those who didn't go to California Extreme either went to EVO. Now, I couldn't go to EVO this year, so I went to California Extreme. They had a Street Fighter II Hyper Fighting Edition tournament. I got second place in that, and I lost to first place winner. He was one of the people that worked on the music for Street Fighter III New Generation back in '97. So I actually feel great about my loss, that I lost to one of the musical developers of Street Fighter III. He gave me a lot of respect. I had a lot of fun. I'm just going to show some quick little marquee footage, picturesque of what California Extreme is, that explains a little bit more in depth. Okay, Murphy. For all of you those out there in the Bay Area who is not aware, California Extreme is the classic arcade game show, and it's been going on for a little bit over 15 years. It is a coin-operated pinball and video game machines, along with other novelties that you once saw in booming video game arcades of the 90s. All the games that were there on display were all set to free to play, and tickets to get into the convention/expo was $35 to $40. They had a pinball tournament and a Street Fighter II Hyper Fighting tournament. This event actually cross-referenced with Evolution Fighting Game Series at the same time. Extreme 2013 was held July 13th to the 14th. Many of those who could not attend were at EVO, and those who did not want to attend was at California Extreme. I was at California Extreme, fought in the Street Fighter II Turbo Hyper Fighting Tournament, and won second place against the first place winner who actually worked on the music to Street Fighter III. This convention will be coming again sometime next year, around the same time in July, and it's always held at the Santa Clara Convention Center in Santa Clara, California. So that was just a little information on what California Extreme is. I'm not sure if I'm going to attend next year, but if I don't go to EVO next year, then I most likely will be at California Extreme, supporting the long-lost video gaming and pinball arcading frenzy of the 90s. So, into the next thing. As you know, I talk all about the Bishojo Senshi universe, women of fighting video games, women of anime. That is my forte. It came across to me through Yahoo News, and I had to talk about it. The first South Asian female assassin or female superhero of Southeast Asia. She is Pakistani heroine. Her name, and she is the star of her own comic book and animation that's going to start sometime later on this month in August. It's called Burka Avenger. Burka Avenger, she fights with pens and books as she defends her school of education against the Taliban. I'm going to show you some footage of Burka Avenger, a little marquee pic of this. Okay, Murphy, show them the pic. For all of us that live our lives in the wonderful world of geek culture and fandom, we all know too well that there's plenty of things out there to keep us entertained, from video games, computers, Japanese animation, manga, and even American comics. So it would be no surprise that something like this I would have to talk about, because it is groundbreaking. Southeast Asia, over there in India, in the city of Pakistan, has its first female superhero. And her name is unknown at the moment, but She is the star of her own cartoon and comic book series called Burka Avenger. She is a mild-mannered school teacher with secret martial arts skills and a flowing black burqa, as she uses this to hide her identity as she fights local thugs in her local town, trying to shut down the School of Education. Now, this is a reality, sadly, over there in Pakistan that is all too real to them. The Taliban have blown up hundreds of schools, attacked activists, and of course Pakistan's northwest region all too much. Now, I guess something that sparked local condemnation all over the world not too long ago was when the government over there actually shot a 15-year-old girl in the head for actually trying to get an education. Now, the action in Burka Avenger, the cartoon series that is starting sometime this month, is scheduled to start running on GOTV in early August. Now, it is much for the lighthearted, they say, and the bungling of bad guys that evoke more laughter than fear are no match for the Burka Avenger, undoubtedly the first, quote, South Asian ninja who wields books and pens as a weapon. In the Urdu language, the show is for the brainchild or made by the brainchild of a Pakistan's biggest pop star over there. Her name is Aaron Haroon Rashid. She's known to many over there as Haroon, and she conceived of this show as a way to emphasize the importance of girls' education and teach children other lessons, such as protecting the environment and not discriminating against others. The last point is critical in a country where Islamist militants wage repeated attacks against religious minorities. Each of the Burka Avengers episodes is centered around a common theme or moral which sends out strong social messages to kids. Rashid told the Associated Press in her first interview about the show, but is cloaked with pure entertainment, laughter, action, and adventure. The decision to clothe this superhero in a black burqa, often spelled B-U-R-Q-A instead of B-U-R-K-A, is a full-length robe commonly worn by conservative Islamic women in Pakistan and Afghanistan, but this piece has been modified to become more like a ninja mask. Would somehow in some future could raise eyebrows because some people view the outfit as a sign of oppression. The Taliban forced women to wear burqas when they took control of the Afghanistan government somewhere in the 1990s. Now, the version worn by the Avengers shows where not only can you see her eyes and her fingers through it, is much more sleeker, but it's made and tailored like, as I mentioned before, a ninja outfit. I look forward to taking some looks of this show, even though it's not Japanese animation. I'm very interested in see what India has to offer as they release this sometime this month at the end. India, or Pakistan's first female superhero, more educational than ever, the Burka Avenger, as she fights off the Pakistan government from shutting down education for women. So that was Burka Avenger. Her animation series begins later on this month in August, along with her comic book series. Much love and peace to Miss Rashid out there over in Pakistan, who has the temerity, the nerve, and the audacity to create something that controversial for young girls in a world where education is actually limited for them. So much love to you out there in the world of Pakistan. Moving on, I will be talking about the classic anime of the month. I rediscovered it as I've seen it a long time ago, but I had to sit down and see it again, and this is Armatage III. Armatage III. I'm hoping one day they may remake it into a 3D animation or a CG animation, something of that sort. Armatage III, Dual Matrix, Polymatrix. There were 2 versions of it and a sequel. The OVA is 6 episodes. That's what I'm actually be talking about today. And it was released by AIC Studios over there in Japan, and then Jinyan Pioneer in its heyday before their demise here in the domestic markets. Okay, Murphy, show them the footage. Armatage III. The year is 2046, and the overpopulation of Earth has led to the colonization on Mars. With the aid of the first-type android robots, men were able to begin transforming the unfriendly environment of Mars as they built a city known as St. Luel. 70 years later, after the colonization, the city is completed and is totally inhabited by great numbers of people and second-type robots, much more improved versions of the first types. Ross Syllabus is a middle-aged policeman from Chicago on planet Earth who flies to St. Luel using a space shuttle. Syllabus asks to be transferred to the Martian Police Department to escape his haunting past and memories of his partner being killed by a robot. Later on in the series, you will find out that his partner ended up being his first wife. At the St. Louis spaceport on Mars, he is met by a new partner, a younger woman named Naomi Armitage. On the same shuttle as Syllabus travels Kelly McCannon, the last country singer in the universe, and as the shuttle nears the terminal, a mysterious man entering the cargo section soon after this becomes an intruder and the alarms go off. This man would turn out to be an android robot known as a Third, who is sent to kill off the last country singer and successfully does so. As Naomi Armitage, a policewoman, ends up teaming up with Syllabus Ross, they go after the man, only to find out that they work for the same police department, and they will go on a mission to find out why are all the third-type android robots being assassinated by a mysterious government. You will find on later on in the series that Naomi Armitage herself ends up being a Third, and being a Third is something special for as an android robot can actually give birth. This series was written by Chiaki Konaka, directed by Hiroyuki Ochi, produced by Hiroyaki Inoue, Kazukaki Morijiri, Yasue Hasegawa. Music by Akira Kawase, Hiroyuki Morinaga, and Hiroyuki Namba. The studio who has also produced this animation is known as AIC in Japan and was released by Jinyon Pioneer here in the States. At this moment, this classic anime you can find from Amazon.co.jp, Amazon.co.jp, AmericanAmazon.com, as well as CDJapan.co.jp, and anywhere on eBay. So that was Armitage III, Dual Matrix, the 6-episode OVA. Just once again, touching briefly on it, there is the 6-episode OVA. There is also 2 movies, and one day I hope that they actually make a remake. So now I'm going to move into the video games of the month. I'm going to be talking about 2 video games, and I'm going to get started with the first one. So the first video game that I'm actually going to introduce is Bayonetta 2. I had to talk about her. I was not there at E3, nor was I there at San Diego Comic-Con, and I wasn't at EVO. So, well, actually, I don't think Bayonetta 2 was at EVO. No, she was not. But she was at San Diego Comic-Con. She will be there at PAX sometime later on this month, August the 30th. I had to talk about her. For those of you who played Bayonetta, the first game for PlayStation 3, we know that the sequel is dedicated solely to the Wii U. It's going to have all these different interactions between the touchpad of the Wii U, and if you just want to play standardized without having to do the touchscreen mode. So Bayonetta is an Umbra witch. She is the product or the offspring of an unholy match between a Lumen Sage and an Umbra witch. That's what became of her. Her real name is Cereza, and she was always seen growing up as the unpure child because she wasn't fully an Umbra witch. She was a sage and a witch. The Lumen Sages fight on behalf of God, and the Umbra witches on behalf of Satan, the devil, supposedly. And Bayonetta, in a sense, or Cereza, is a mix of the two. She's neither light nor dark. She's actually in between. However, she has become friends of the heiress to the Umbra crown, John. John serves as her rival in part 1, but actually a sidekick in part 2. Jean was always my favorite character in the game because I always wanted to play with her. I'm going to get right into it. These are some scenes footage of Bayonetta 2. Okay, Murphy, show them the footage. As all of you guys know who've been watching my videos, Women of the Bisoujo Senshi universe, Women of Fighting Games, and Women of Anime is my forte. Though I am overjoyed and in the state of unfathomable consciousness to talk about Bayonetta 2, the upcoming action hack and slash video game sequel developed by Platinum Games, published by Nintendo, and this sequel be exclusively for the Wii U. I know a lot of us is actually upset, but with the help of Sega as its franchise owner serving as its advisors, this sequel to the 2009 game is being directed by Yusuke Hashimoto, produced by Asusushi Inaba. Under the supervision, the series creator Hideki Kamiya announced that this game will only be exclusive to the Wii U. For those who were there at E3 this year and those awaiting PAX this year, 2013, Bayonetta 2 will be there. The demo is ready to be played, and as you start off the game already starts in a scene of action. You start off fighting on a runaway bullet train, end up fighting all these new angelic centaurs as the war continues against the Umber Witches and the Lumen Sages, for those of you who have been playing Bayonetta 1. So as you see in the background, there's the so-called bullet train, or the train that's there in the world of Bayonetta. And here's John right there in the background. John is coming in. They're going to be fighting together. John plays more like a sidekick, more than her rival. But then again, for those who played the first sequel, you realize John actually is the one that sealed away Bayonetta for the upcoming apocalypse, that she would be the chosen one to actually defeat the angels. For those of you who don't know, Bayonetta, her real name is Cereza, who is the product offspring of an unholy matrimony between a Lumen Sage and an Umbra Witch. John is the actual queen of the Umbra Witches, or who is going to claim her role as the queen, but Bayonetta, who is the unborn child, ends up becoming the star of the game. This game is set to be released next year, 2014, somewhere in the early part. And enjoy. Very happy to talk about Bayonetta 2. So that was Bayonetta 2, exclusively for the Wii U. That's going to be released next year in the first quarter of 2014. Guys, leave your comments on this video. Let me know what you think. I will be getting the game along with a Wii U at the time. I'm hoping that when I do get my Wii U, there'll be some upgrades or modifications to the system. And all the bugs will be worked out, as well as DVD playback capabilities. All the stuff that we like to have with everyday's next generation modern console. Okay, moving on to the next video game. This is anime-based video game, Bishoujo / mech, musical, everything. So for those of you who like mech anime, there's always been a divide either between Gundam and then Macross. Gundam, heavily politically based mech anime. There's so many Gundams, and with each Gundam that you watch, there is always something to entice, to incite, to keep you into it, especially if you're into government and politics. Gundam is the mech anime for you, and in some cases, some consider it the ultimate mech anime and modern day mechanization animations. Then there's Macross. Macross is known for the heavy mech anime. It is political. There is some politics in there, but it's known for its consistency with its storyline, with one after another being a sequel, a continuation so many years forth down the line. And it's based upon music. The mech and the people that are in the suits of the mech are musically based, and so their attacks and everything about it is just very musical. I'm still watching a lot of Macross right now. I'm catching up between Macross 7 and then Macross Frontier, Macross 0. I've seen Plus, all of 2, and all of Super Dimensional Force. Now, this video game that I'm actually going to introduce right now marks the 30-year anniversary of Macross. So Macross is 2 years older than me. I was born in '85, so that means Macross came out in '83. The name of the game is called Macross 30, the voice that connects the galaxy. And so I'm very excited to present the beauty of this video game. Murphy, we're going to show them the footage. Macross 30. All right, this is Macross 30, the voice that connects the galaxy. This is set in the year of 2060, 50 years after Space World War I, the conflict scene in the first Macross series, and 1 year after the Vidra war scene in Macross Frontier. Above the planet Ouroboros in the far reaches of the galaxy, SMS pilot Leon Sagaki is suddenly attacked by an unknown enemy and is shot in from his YF-25 prophecy. There he is rescued by the heroine Aisha Blanchett, a young Zentradi head of SMS's branch in Ouroboros. Due to the imminent space faults known as the Oboros Obos Aura, Leon cannot immediately return home. He decides to join Aisha in investigating the planet ruins, and while on the underground survey, the two discover a sleeping girl named Mina Forte. Unknown to them, their fates will be crossed with the one throughout space and time. Now, as Macross 30 marks the anniversary of the Macross series, everyone that's been seen in the Macross, with the exception of Macross 2, will be in this video game, from Macross 0, Frontier, 7, and of course Super Dimensional Force, the original Macross. All the pop stars from Cheryl to Lin Min Mei, as well as Rinka, will show up in this video game. Also, may note that characters from Macross Plus also will be making an appearance in this game. So the gameplay of Macross 30 inherits the same gameplay as all the other previous Macross games, so it is said. The game has two types of controls, Type A modeled after the controls in such games as Trial Frontier and Last Frontier, and Type B that allows you to play manually, move the weapons, lock onto a cursor, pinpoint accuracy, so on and so forth. For all of you who are Macross fans out there, this game is an ultimate collection addition to your Macross video games from PC Engine and other previous systems. There's also a limited edition version of this game that you can get from cdjapan.co.jp and also from amazon.co.jp. So that was Macross 30, the voice that connects the galaxy. This is actually a sequel to Macross Frontier. So I'm going to break it down for you really quick. There is Super Dimensional Fortress Macross. Then there is Macross 2. However, for some reason, they do not count Macross 2 Lovers Again. The 6-episode OVA is part of the Macross storyline. It's a standalone storyline, but nevertheless it's Macross. So there's Super Dimensional Macross, then there's Macross 2, then there is Macross Plus. Then after Macross Plus, there is Macross Frontier, then Macross 0, and now we have Macross 30, which takes place after Frontier. So, with Macross 30, the video game that comes after Frontier, is taking place after the second movie. So there's the first movie, then there's the second movie, which takes place after Frontier as well. But the Macross second movie, the second movie of Frontier, Macross 30 takes place after that. This game has everybody between Frontier, 0, plus Super Dimensional Fortress. Unfortunately, they do not have none of the characters from Macross 2. I wish they did. I wondered why they actually left Macross 2 characters out of that. But for the most part, there's every character from every Macross game in Macross 30, the voice that connects the galaxy. So that concludes my show. This month around, I do not have a life lesson. I know I usually have a life lesson at the end of every single episode. But I'm taking some time off to really think about what I want to talk about for my next episode. And so when I do the life lesson for episode 8, it's going to be a lot longer than normal because I'm really going to explain and talk about the content of what it means to really learn about your life and learn from your experiences and the tribulations behind what we go through in everyday existence. And so when I choose that topic, I'm really going to go in depth into it so that I can break it down in its most finite and really express it to the world. Thank you for joining me for episode 7, season 5 of the Faux Sung Elizabeth Cookie Show. Like I said, I'm the ultimate anime mascot goddess that covers all information between females of the Bisoujo Senshi universe, women of fighting video games, and women of anime. See you next month. Say Cookie.